first ban Genji potentially.
The relic. Well, even in open division Korea, they're using that strategy so many times right now. Everyone's picking that up with the Genji strat, and basically, that 0% win rate actually continues in open division also. They go for the fountain and ends up losing the immortal and lose the game. Well, let's see if that relic strategy works.
He coined the term for a reason, and it just has not been yet as impactful. It will be first ban. They will go with the Garrosh again, which I think is probably, you could probably just tape a Garrosh sticker over that slot on your screen when the draft comes up, because it's not going to change.
Yeah, you can have that 2D Garrosh instead of the 3D one now. Yeah,
that's coming soon. I know it's a controversial topic. I know Calder tweeted about this recently. I'm a big fan of 2D portrait, personally. But that's just me. I think in competitive, it needs to be clear. It needs to be obvious. I love how our draft in-game, like how it looks now. It's very cool. And for years, we actually used third-party tools like OGN's draft, the Gold Series draft that we had, the DreamHack ones. There's a lot of cool ones over the years, but they were all 2D. This 3D was a pretty cool option, but for competitive, I think 2D's the way. That's me.
Well, we don't get to see the cool skins and what they change.
It's always a treat. We get to see them in-game. It's a surprise.
A surprise, yes.
Well, this is a tougher ban here this time. Excuse me. They banned Malfurion last game. Not as impactful in the early game on this map, or sorry, in the early part of the draft, to ban that Malfurion. They're going to take the Maiev away instead.
Still having the feedback that it was somewhat troublesome. They were able to break through that line of wombo combo last time, but not going to be the same case on BOE. And an insta-pick from GLuck and Hanzo instead of a Genji. Okay, I like this change from GLuck. It was usually and always Genji.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, honestly, this is a very welcome change to me. Given that Hanzo is just so powerful on this map, despite nerf after nerf, unless you change the way his kit functions with the scatter arrow, or remove his talents that function around the scatter arrow, even if you nerf the numbers slightly, like, he will be strong on this map just by nature of his functionality, and that's why he is so high up on this draft.
It's just a little slower on to the camps and objects, but the same damage, basically.
Yeah. Hanzo just recently, obviously, got updated in the Overwatch PTR to completely change his kit, but I don't think that's going to happen in Heroes. You know, David wasn't updated either. This is going to be a Hanzo map for months and months to come, I'd say, unless a massive rework comes through. Genji and Tyrael do come in here, first picks.
So Genji Tyrael once again.
Yeah, worked really well. Sniper's Genji, the best it's ever been last game.
And also Judy Tyrael, Sanctification's on top. They can just continue that on, but it is not going to be the same as Maiev. Also banned Hanzo taken from GLuck already. They want to go for that solo lane before the ban, or just go work on their support. Will be the question. If they want to take Luther away, they can do that right now. Unless they want to use that ban card.
I think they will use the ban card. Unless they want to grab it with the ETC. Malfurion being available means that it is probably going to be that Uther ban again. And now where do you go? Last time it was a very difficult ban. They decided to ban the Hanzo because they didn't know where the draft was going for GLuck, and there were a lot of DPSs that were available. Now, you know, you have to wonder who's going to solo lane, because Phoenix could operate as a solo laner again in this draft. It's absolutely possible.
It is possible, less likely onto this map, and we're talking about the Seron. And it pairs up pretty well with the ETC, so I would go for that Blaze ban, which whenever Seron has a hero that does not have an escape, like the bunker, especially, he had the warp with the Phoenix, so he was kind of safe, but when he does not, like Narthus, he was actually making some bad rotational calls.
I am 100% with you on that. Arthas is not a hero that is his strong suit. He needs an escape. Even Dahaka has Burrow, so there's something, right? But he could also, you know, use his Brush Stalker to get away sometimes. It'll be a Tracer ban. Interesting. I actually don't like this ban. I don't think it's where GLuck is looking to go with this at all. I think it's somewhat based on the fact that Malfurion was left open and was locked in, and it's a strong pairing, even with the ETC, but I don't think GLuck was thinking about that at all. They're trying to control the objective. They want to have a strong solo laner and a strong second DPS that's good at the race aspect. That's why they locked in Hanzo first. That's the theme of this draft. They want to have an anti-dive with the Genji on the other side. So Tracer, I don't think really fits into that slot.
I think you have a lot better chance comparing sniping onto a DPS, just the solo lane. I was expecting at least something like a Sonya even.
Yeah, something like that makes a lot more sense to me. You know, they want to dominate the solo lane and they want to win the objective. That's what the draft is screaming on the side of GLuck. Not by picks, but by defensive play. And the race aspect of Hanzo. That's why they first picked him. A Miracle, they've gone down the path of no return with this dive now. Li Ming's still available. That's the only hero they could pick that shifts this draft to a safer place.
That's right.
It was highlighted in the ban for a moment, but they ended up locking in the Grey main. So again, furthering the idea that they want to win the race no matter what. And weaken the dive. I think Li Ming is the safest pick you can go with here for Miracle.
It is the safest pick, and as our camera is on Gunza, did he really play that Li Ming too many times? Let's look at the sheet. I don't think that many times compared to Sniper. He was the one onto Li Ming oftentimes.
Yeah. Well,
only once.
Yeah. So there's been, you know, with last performance we saw from Sniper on Genji, it's up in the air. It's a coin toss really as to who will be playing that. Well, the question is now, what does Saron play? What do they bring to this table here? They don't know the enemy solo laner, and that's so frustrating when you end up in this first pick situation, as that's the big question mark when the solo laner is left like this, and you want to win the matchup. You can't win it.
You have to complete your team, and also there's a Sang and the D shield to protect, so they have double protection onto their DPS. How are you going to break through? Do you really bring in the burst damage and draw out the D shield, or do you really go for that long poking along with that Hanzo?
Very difficult to make a choice here. Gonna go with Sonya, safe pick, strong all around, and okay, well, throw safe out of the window because it's a Zarya. All right, well, this is gonna be a totally different game than we expected. Zarya, insanely strong in the early game, very strong push power, great anti-dive. They're gonna look to bleed Genji out when he comes in. Li Ming is going to be their biggest problem, though. And I think that's where the Malfurion ETC is going to have to come into play. Basically, we're going to have to see tons of Milky Way absorption here against Li Ming's skill shots. He's going to have to be blocking those. While Hanzo, Zarya, and Sonya do the work on the Immortal. And he's going to have to be protected, of course, by Blue Beetle.
So, when Malfurion was locked in with an ETC and Hanzo, I was thinking, what are they thinking? Maybe a Medivh? But it doesn't really fit with a Hanzo. I knew there had to be some kind of other way of defense for the team, and it happens to be Zarya. They had all that planned. This looks like a practiced one strategized by GLuck here, as you have BOE and then Arthas to finish up from H82 Miracle. A hard not the hardest matchup in terms of sustain against Sonya.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually pretty good for Arthas as long as you know, you don't get hit by spears. And if you can hit any Howling Blast, it becomes a losing matchup for Sonya very quickly. The issue in this matchup is actually the mana, because Arthas does become very mana-starved. He's one of the original heroes from Heroes of the Storm, and there's actually been a lot of discussion about how some of the original heroes in Heroes of the Storm do not have the same amount of mana management as the newer heroes of Heroes of the Storm. You look back at the 2014, you know, beta, the 2015 Heroes of the Storm release heroes, those heroes all have smaller mana pools, and Arthas is no exception. So that's one issue in the top lane. But how they use this Zarya, I imagine it's going to be Sonya top with a 4-man push bot. Could be a lane swap. We're going to have to assess this draft after we see how they want to use it, because there's a lot of different ways that Zarya can be played on a 2-lane map. It's very rare outside of course, Braxis, but let's see how they want to play this one. Showing the bot for now. Will be Saron on that Zarya, actually, and Overlord on the Sonya. So a bit of a position swap here as well.
Ooh, I actually like this change a lot. Saron going as a Zarya, as Saron was the solo lane for the team. He's still the solo laner, as we saw Phoenix top. But just for this game, I think they made that swap.
Okay, Sonic Arrow shows them that they were able to force 2 to go top. So Miracle has to rush down here and get here before Milky Way starts, sorry, before Saron starts bleeding down these towers. They do come down. So with Arthas coming up late, it's a pretty big win for GLuck, but they need to do more than this.
I think it's going to be much about the mastery of Saron's Zarya here. In this case, going for the auto attack, I think he's really trying to build up that energy and just
I love
Felt
the
that
auto attack
immortal.
here because it's so good against Genji too and Arthas, you know, on the immortal. And like, yeah, come at me. Like, I've got full energy and I'm going to use it. Zarya is so powerful against Li Ming because the way that you can counterplay Zarya is not give energy, but when Li Ming throws her orbs out, Saron decides when the energy comes through. You can't be like, oh wait, I wish I didn't throw those. You know, once the orbs are out, you're putting the shield up and the energy's coming through.
Yeah, just like when you have the burst damage like a Chromie. When there's a Zarya on the other side, you go, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up doing very little damage.
You're buffing your opponent.
Yes, basically at the same time.
So they're just dominating this lane right now. Sniper trying to get an angle here, revealed by the Sonic Arrow. The Sonic Arrow actually makes this really cool because there's no flanks. There's no secrets here.
Two-lane map BOE with Arthas on top, of course.
Yeah, there's literally no secrets. You're not worried about anything. Relic needs to make sure he doesn't take too much damage from these cannon towers, but even using that scatter arrow to confirm viewership, to confirm vision. He's like, how many on Twitch? Let me see the scatter over here. Confirm the viewership.
Throw that Sonic Arrow and just make sure if there's anyone else, any hosting coming from the
he's
side.
He's like, Arrow, he's like, do we get hosted by Blizz Heroes? But, yeah, Sonic Arrows is continuing to check and confirm. Now he's like, okay, where's Genji? Didn't see him.
Right
Root
there.
comes through, follow up. This could be a lot of damage to Judy. Auto attack build here working great. Later though, post 10, will this comp be as strong? Will it be as successful? I don't think so. And I'm not sure if GLuck is immaculate as this attack has been, how well they've been able to control vision with the Sonic Arrows. I don't know if this has actually been enough damage.
I think Miracle has a tiny bit of window between 10 to 16. Once that 16 hits, once Zarya can give multiple shields, that will be super painful. But between that time, when they are able to swing that Dragon Blade, get major resets with the Li Ming's critical mass at the same time, I think they can turn everything around, but they have to soak to the right level before that happens.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like what could I'm trying to think of what could go wrong for Miracle in this game before 10 hits and before I suppose they could get crushed on this immortal phase, but I don't expect that to happen. They're already on it first here. They're not going to try to race yet. They actually want to just give the halftime as Overlord comes in now. And it actually ends up being really close with a slight
Hanzo
lead.
before 7, doesn't do, of course, does a lot of damage, but still before 7, it is not as fast, I would say, against on Artanis or the Vala.
So look at this combo. This is exactly what I'm talking about, where ETC eats the Li Ming damage and the heals come through and they race. Obviously before 7, like you said, this is not going to be a massive win. They do win the immortal phase with 662 hit points. But they did exactly as I said. They sent Milky Way and Blue Beetle to absorb that damage. And when you see this happen in the next phase, when Hanzo does have that Scatter Arrow build completed, that's when it's going to be insane out of control damage. Soul Lane flips. This is going to be a Zarya push, so if they can get on top of that port, they can do a lot, but they don't have a ton of range damage. All they have is Hanzo, and this Immortal is not very heavily shielded. So even though this is a Zarya comp, and Saron has no energy at the moment, this could be worse for Miracle. They kept that race pretty competitive.
There are good pokes from Miracle, so not going to push in too far. Only one left, actually. Seems like Arthas and Sonya had some contest on the top.
Yeah. Look at the experience as well. Like, Miracle's not really that far behind. I think Miracle's in a fantastic position in this game. I do feel very strongly that post-10, they're going to be able to do a lot more than what GLuck is going to be able to do.
I think it's just the amount. There's a rotation from H82. Not really catching anyone there as Saron just shields himself.
This is expensive, this rotation. It's costing them big. It's costing them tons of damage on their bot wall right now. This was a failed rotation. And this is actually going to make me rethink my statement of saying Miracle's in a great spot in this game, because look at what Sonya, we're going to take a look at it in a second, look at what Sonya's able to do in that short window of time.
Yeah,
Tons of damage.
Yeah, both destroyed, only the wall standing there. It feels like you have to do something. It's like Raxus and there's a Zarya and Morales against you. They have total sustain, total control on the lane. It seems like you want to make something happen, maybe a kill, but it's better off actually waiting for that 10 and not really falling behind too much against the sustain.
Exactly. Not falling behind too much, I think, is the best and simplest way to put it. Now we have the next Immortal phase. Hanzo's build is complete. 555 finishes. This is going to be very, very difficult for Miracle to win. 10 seconds till it spawns. They have positional advantage. So Arthas heading there already. Let's see what Miracle gets done here this time. Watch Milky Way and Blue Beetle. Look at what they're going to do to try to mitigate this damage. Overlord actually flanking here for a second. He's going to camp during this. Interesting choice.
Because Overlord had the wave clear before, Arthas, because of the lane rotation, has been losing that bottom lane. We didn't really get to see that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to, on one hand, be great for them to have this camp, but on the other hand, it's going to cost them a lot of damage. They're not even that ahead in the Immortal race like they would be.
They spotted Miracle. They won the contest before 10 hits. Let's see.
I don't know about this.
There's Root Howling Blast from H82.
Saron
survives.
Full energy here. Full energy Zarya doing so much damage. No one is touching him. He is just bleeding them out. Sniper is going to be the next target here. If anyone can get on him, he's revealed. Scatter Arrow not quite going to reach him, but they get a second kill here. And as much as I wanted to question GLuck's ability, or GLuck's camp there, Miracle invading it meant that GLuck had the perfect opportunity to fight. It was greedy, but they turned that greed into a good team fight. Miracle walked right into their hands, played into their hands. Now they have a 12k shield Immortal, double camp, and level 10. This game may end because of this push. I'm not saying this is going to kill the core, but this may just be impossible to recover from Miracle.
Terrible call. Terrible, terrible call from Miracle. And it's not even post 10 minutes. You want to make something happen, but make sure you have all the tools to do it. You don't have the Sank, you don't have the Sanctification. And you don't have the Holy Ground, you don't have the D-Shield. It's before 10.
You're also doing this into a Zarya, you know? So, Zarya is going to do so much damage. She does have, you know, full energy in that last fight. She did have, I should say. She does have full energy now as well. But they're trying to split push top to get 10. This is easily going to be keep all down. Very likely half or more of this keep, because the Zarya push. Zarya still at full energy, by the way. And look at how much damage they can do. Sonya in here. 10's up. How do they use it? How does Miracle prevent this from being a game-ending push?
It's melting down. It's down already. They're going straight to the core. Miracle just hit level 10. Arthas is coming around from the back, taking some time.
This needs to be an incredible Dragon Blade. Divine Shield, or sorry, Sanctification used super early here. Tranquility healing everybody up. Dragon Blade's coming out, but it's not doing enough damage. Core's under attack. That's going to be it. They crush it. Winning this game in 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Tying up our series 1-1.
You said it, Wolf?
Just totally controlled that game.
Game-ending call. That was it. The camp, after they lost the camp. Major throw right there, having that decision against the Zarya, against an ETC. Oh man, Sniper did end up escaping from there on. Actually got caught with the last Scatter Arrow. But look at their faces right now. They thought. I also thought they had a nice draft after 10, but if they barely get their chance to do anything after 10, well, what can you do if you're pushed so far?
This was a big mess. Like they threw the entire game on a camp invade before 10. They were down a level. They were down 2k shields. They should have. What I very strongly believe they should have done in that last fight was take that time while the camp is coming. Maybe throw some orbs at it from Gunza, but catch back up in the Immortal race. Deal with the camp later. You don't have a lot of wave clear, so the camp is painful when it gets taken like that, and you don't have any answer for it, and you're down 2k shields. I can understand the desperation, but you're up against fastest camp clearing heroes ever, Hanzo and Sonya. Saron's on it as well. He's got full energy from the camp itself. You dive on top of that Zarya. Bubbles coming out, doing so much damage. Saron just melted through. I was ranting there. I didn't even see how much hero damage he had. It was probably quite high, just given the auto attack build from level 1 and his ability to win both of those major team fights.
I think this is the way they should go. To Saron actually moving to flex instead and overload that on that Sonya solo lane has been just dominant against the Arthur. We didn't quite get to see too much of that solo lane, but he has been winning the duel most of the time. Actually won the duel. That's why they got an early start on their own camp onto the left side, and ends up being the winning key factor of winning game number 2 there.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started. The snowball started from the solo lane and this change of the roles in between the team. Really liked the Zarya pick and seemed very practiced together.
It was very practiced, absolutely. It didn't look overwhelming on the first push, but they didn't use it like most Zarya pushes, where you just commit to pushing down a whole wall, going to a fort, force the enemy team to trade. They didn't use it like that. They used it for a defensive tool to steal a camp to be able to win the Immortal race. That being said, we're now tied up 1-1 in this best of 5. Before we finish the series, though, we are going to have a very